Good morning to Miss Ulafir and everyone concerned. My name is Amir Ines from grade 8.1 and I will be presenting my geography assignment for term 3, which requires me to design a city. As per the criteria, I've selected Minecraft as my platform to design and present my city. My city will include 10 land zones as indicated in the criteria. These land zones will include a central business district, a heavy industrial zone, light industrial zone, high income residential area, low income residential area, a recreation area, a river, roads, a shopping center, and an airport. The layout for these land use zones in my city will be as close to what was indicated in my textbook, and every effort will be made to replicate this layout. For the purpose of the actual layout to effectively indicate the different land use zones, I have set Minecraft to generate a flat land so that it would be easy to mark the different land use zones. For this, I've decided to use wooden fencing to separate the different land use zones, and I've used signboards at the top of a stone tower mounted in the center of the zone as a key to indicate which zone we are referring to. I will start with the CBD, or rather the Central Business District, as this is our first point to cover and, as the name suggests, is the center of my city here. Moving on, we have the Light Industrial Zone over here, and it's adjacent to the CBD. As the name suggests, it offers a light degree of industrial might to the city. And on that note, we move on to our low income residential area. I have placed 3 of these zones around the light industrial zone while still staying relatively close to the central business district. This will offer my city the labor force required to run most of the zones, but most notably the industrial zones. Next, we move on to the heavy industrial zone. I use plural for the industrial zones because I have also included a heavy industrial zone, while it remains adjacent to the low-income residential area. Next is the recreational area. This is really just to offset the noise and pollution that is generated by a functional city at work. We now move on to the airport that will allow people and goods to be easily transported in and out of the city. We then move on to the river that will separate the upcoming shopping center and high income residential area, as you can clearly see, from the CBD. I'm just moving into the high income residential area to give you a better look, and I'm now going to pan around and try and give you a nice isometric view of the entire city. As you can clearly see, there's a nice network of roads that will allow easy transportation between each of the land use zones. As can be seen from textbook layout for the land use zones, I have made every effort to try and emulate this into my very own city. So I've decided to go one further and let Minecraft generate a proper landscape with mountains, trees, rivers, and various resources. And this is what I've got. This place is genuinely beautiful and to some extent reminds me of Cape Town. At this point, I actually want to call the city Cape Town 2.0. And if we look ahead, you might even be able to see the replica of Table Mountain. Though I'm gonna go up ahead there now, so I'm sure you'll be able to get a glimpse of it soon. First, I'd like to talk about the CBD. The CBD is near the coast, similar to Cape Town. I mean, I was going to call it Cape Town 2.0 after all. The CBD will be the center of my city and therefore needs to be decently centered compared to all the other land use zones. I'm just moving up on the sign now so you get a better glimpse of it. And now I will be moving on to the recreational area. Minecraft has yet again pulled through for us and generated a beautiful piece of land. Therefore, I've decided to place the recreational area right over here. The recreational area is just supposed to be a place for people to chill, relax, and escape their work and personal life. Down here, we have a mini waterfall that I plan on incorporating into the recreational area. We then move on to the high-income residential area that's supposed to be a snazzy place to live, and therefore I've placed it on a beautiful piece of land which is separated from the CBD and the upcoming shopping center by a river. We move on now to the shopping center, which is also separated from the CBD by the river and separated from the high income residential area by a river. The shopping center should just offer a wide variety of goods to people. Next, we move on to our port, our castle, and a river. The port is obviously to allow more goods to be transported in and out of the city, as well as the castle being the main point of defense for the city, similar to Cape Town's castle. Next, we move over the central business district on top of the mountain, as this time I've tried to use the mountain in a feasible way by placing an airport atop it. Next, we move on to our light industry. As the name suggests, the industry should be quite light and it shouldn't produce that much noise or pollution, therefore, not disturbing the surrounding area that much in any way. I just want to move into the area to give you a better look, and then we're going to turn around, revealing a heavy industry area down in the valley by the mountain over here. This time, the heavy industry should consist of mines. As you can see in the mountain over there, there's a huge cavern which consists of many raw materials and minerals that I would like this part of the heavy industry to mine out. Up here, we have another heavy industry, though this should consist of factories. Both of these heavy industry areas will produce quite a bit of pollution and noise, therefore placed far away from the CBD and the high income residential area. Down here we have a rural village as well as the low income residential area. But Minecraft's done us another great one by generating that beautiful rural village. As you can see here, it's the low income residential area. Let's just take a moment to admire this beautiful rural village over here. I mean, it truly is breathtaking. So next, we move on to our next low-income residential area. I've decided to place both of these low-income residential areas fairly close to the light industry as well as the heavy industry. I'm just moving back around just so you can see the rural village once again with the cherry blossoms up in the distance. I've also decided to create another recreational zone, though this time for the low-income residential area, and I've placed it over here in a pit. Next, I just wanted to chat a bit about the transportation, as because there's a huge mountain separating everything, transportation might be a bit of a problem. Therefore, I've decided to tunnel directly through the mountain. I'd just like to move through the mountain just to show you how the tunneling would actually work. First of all, we'd be passing the first light industry that I've showed you. Well, I mean the only light industry that I've shown you. As we can see, we have both the factories and the mining heavy industries in the distance, as well as the airport. We continue going with the tunnel until we reach the tunnel exit sign up ahead, which is nearing the CBD. I'm going to close into the sign now just to give you a better look. Next, we move on to the actual cavern that I'd like to come out of regarding the actual tunneling, which will link up to the CBD that I'm going to move on to now. We then will have a road linking that to the port and castle, or port and harbor, and then that will also be linked to the shopping center up ahead. The rest will also be linked, but I'm just talking about how the tunnel will actually help linking everything to the low-income residential. As we can see, we have the high-income residential up ahead, the recreational area, the port and castle, the CBD and the airport up there. We got the tunnel exit, and yeah, that's about it. But alas, this wasn't meant to be. Our energy supply Eskom scheduled load shedding at 8 p.m. on the Sunday, and as I worked frantically within the time frame, Eskom mercilessly cut our power at exactly 8 p.m. that evening. I was in the process of saving as I hoped for a few minutes of grace, as is normally the case. The save file got corrupted though, and I lost all of my work. I had already completed the tunnels through all of the mountains with their respective terminals, as well as the shopping center, airport, both heavy industrial zones, roads, river crossings, one of the recreational areas, the castle, and the harbour completed. It was a heavy blow, and a single tear did indeed roll down my cheek. I didn't even take a video to show the state of my build, as I intended to do a video upon completion of the city. We can put that one down as a natural disaster of some sort then. Armageddon, if you like. I will have to start building a brand new city. Behold, Armageddon, my new city, built from the ashes of the last city and named in honor of the devastation that befell it. We go to the central business district now, where City Hall towers above everything. The central business district contains a hospital, police station, fire station, and bank, among other things. We now move on to the light industrial area. It has parking and produces some pollution, though not that much. We now move over the bridge or highway, if you like, onto our low income residential area. As you can see, this low income residential area has been placed between our light industry and our heavy industry. The heavy industry is displayed right in front of us right now, named Amir Steel, as it produces steel. We next move on to the recreational area, which I named Elemental Sword, as it does look like a sword after all. We next move on to the airport, which contains two separate runways, a hangar, a comms tower, and the actual airport itself, with some parking in front. We then see a beautiful view of City Hall in the distance. We then move on to our shopping center, which is separated from the CBD and airport by a river, as well as the high-income residential area on the left of it being separated from the CBD and all other land use zones by the river. I'm then panning back just to give you a nice isometric view of the city, as well as to give you an idea of the network of roads connecting all the land use zones nicely.